how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
Yes, y'all are to the like beating. You can either dance or just have a seat and listen to the way in what I am displaying. A different kind of rapper language that I am saying. To all the parties,
happy Tuesday. Welcome in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Happy birthday to the incredible, the immortal Biz Markie. I can't beatbox, but I try. Listen, you are locked into your front row seat to the culture. This is where we hit all the trending topics and headlines. You already know. The sassiest mic in the game or something like that. Tonight, we are talking breakthrough roles, bold legal moves, as always, because the legal news just doesn't stop, and a raw, real-life story getting the Hollywood treatment. From Hailee Steinfeld claiming her mixed race identity on screen in Sinners, and we're going to get into a little bit of a review on the film Sinners that stars Michael B. Jordan, his collaboration once again with Ryan Coogler. We're going to talk about that. And Diddy's legal team, they're talking about putting out newspaper ads. We heard about this with another person related to the Diddy trial. And we have a story that I found was interesting about a new series that's on Hulu called Dying to Live. And the premise is real life, and it just started April 4th. And it's pretty crazy. It's about this woman who finds out she has terminal cancer, and she makes a decision that we're going to get into. But first, before we get into all of that, we have to get into a couple of conversation starters, things you need to know. Hit you with the headlines, stirring up the timeline. So, Anthony Edwards, we've been talking about him a great deal. He's agreed to give Aisha Howard full custody of their 6-month-old daughter, Aubrey. And according to the court docs, as mentioned previously, he's not seeking visitation. His focus is strictly financial. It states that Howard is currently unemployed and she's seeking child support, legal fees, and reimbursement for her medical expenses. This is the 38-year-old woman who had the baby in October of 2024. She has an older child with rapper Lil Baby. So that's the backstory. This is the one that had the baby here in California, in Los Angeles, but she was from New York, but met him in the situation, the hookup happened in Georgia. So the courts ruled that she cannot establish residency here for her child support needs. So we'll see how that all turns out. And listen, I don't know if you heard last month that Richard Sherman's house was broken into while his family was there and they robbed him. Slim Thug was recently the victim of a home invasion robbery yesterday. The thieves stole cash and jewelry while he was away. Surveillance captured the suspects, but there's been no arrest yet. I will say this, we slip sometimes, but you do not always have to tell social media your moves, You don't, or show off your things. I mean, I know it's hard. People are going to want to get at celebrities and those in the public eye anyway, but you got to move a little more carefully in these times. Andy?
The way some of these robbers are, especially Richard Sherman. I don't know if Richard Sherman put it out there that he was out, but I believe the wife and the kids was still in the house. So
they didn't care.
They're getting bold now.
And things are getting crazy. So listen, there's a new Bravo show that's dropping. It's called Next Gen NYC. It's coming June 3rd, and it features some of the offspring of Real Housewives cast members. So Riley Burris, that's Candy Burris's daughter. She will be featured. Gia Guducci, Ariana Bierman, that is Kim and Croy, I believe, is her dude's name that she married, the ex-football player. That's their child. And Ava Dash, who we know is Dame Dash's daughter. And more children of TV reality royalty are going to be dropping in, and we will be getting to watch them navigating life and legacy in the Big Apple. So that's how it is. And we talked about Bow Wow last night and his various beefs, especially with Omarion. Bow Wow said there's no beef and it's complicated. Omarion responded by saying, I thought we were good unless there is one, meaning a beef. So, Omarion could have let it go by as his unbothered self. He chose not to. He actually chose to comment in the shade room regarding it. So, there you go.
Look, I rock with Omarion.
Me too.
All right? I went to school with him. You feel me? And, we're Scorpio brothers. You feel me? I'm a Libra/Scorpio, but I think we alluded to it yesterday. He claims to be unbothered, right? This man is bothered. Here's the thing. When it comes to, I guess, a public reception or whatever, he's going to give you the fact that he's unbothered. I think that's his coping mechanism in a lot of ways. But trust me, he feels something.
He a little bothered. A little uncomfortable, a little bit. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall. Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's starts as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelty, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelty helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So, Sinners is the new Ryan Coogler directed film. It stars Michael B. Jordan. He's playing twins in this. Their names are Stack and Smoke. It also stars Wume Musaku and Hailee Steinfeld. So, first, we'll get into the plot of Sinners. I had a chance to check it out last week. I will be dropping interviews with some of the cast this Friday, so make sure you tap in for that. But the premise of the film is that it is a horror flick, a vampire flick. Takes place in, I believe it's 1930s Mississippi. And it's a fun ride, beautifully shot. There's a lot about sharecropping culture and the culture of the times in that era, discussions about, you know, the people from the South at that time. A lot of them wanted to head north. We've heard a lot about that, head up to Chicago. That was the path. A lot of your relatives probably have ties or roots in that area or experience something similar. So that is the basic broad setup of the film. I won't give anything away, but if you're into it, is gory. It's gory. And it's a little sexy. But it's a good time, a good popcorn flick. And you know, Ryan Coogler, he always tries to sneak in a little a little medicine with the sugar of the film. So there's some messages in there, but it's a good film. It's really just a good old-fashioned vampire flick. So check that out. But in it, Hailee Steinfeld, she is portraying a multiracial character that mirrors her own real-life background. Now, if you don't know who Hailee is, she starred in a variety of things, mostly as playing either a white woman or an unstated race character, meaning it just doesn't come up, right? You can assume what you like. It's not referenced. You probably won't see any family members of hers. It's not something that comes up, right? And so in real life, she is not biracial per se. She's multiracial. Her grandfather was Asian and black. So she has a fully black great set of great grandparents, I guess. And so she said that she learned a lot about herself portraying this character. The character's name is Mary, and Mary's complex, as you'll get to see should you check out the film. And she has a half black grandfather, just like Hailee's own family history. So in an interview with Shadow and Act, she talked about how the role sparked deep family conversations around her history, and it allowed them to explore, you know, questions that she had about her identity and what happened and the connections to the history and the past in that. It wasn't just research for her. She said that it was a connection. It brought her closer to her mother and her grandfather. And while Mary's tangible history with Jordan's twin character, Smoke and Stack, adds a very psychological layer in the film, again, as you'll see should you check it out, Hailee revealed that family members joined her at the premiere last week, I should say, not a screening. And they, you know, talked about how they felt it was rare to see something so closely to them personally reflected on screen. And her heritage also includes black and, well, I said black, but the specific Asian is Filipino. And so, not that that is necessarily what her character is, but you understand the idea. She said it's more than representation. It's about reclamation, right? And so what I want to know is, there's a lot of conversation now about what is and isn't black, how the one drop rule was something forced on us as a culture because of slavery. But sometimes when I think about some of our most prolific leaders, some, not all, some, I want to make it clear, some, Malcolm X, right? Thurgood Marshall, Rosa Parks, they're all biracial.
Harry
Belafonte. And so I just want to know, what is the benefit of trying to, make that sharp distinction when we understand part of the reason why it came to be is that these were, in many cases, if you're taking it back to slavery, children of black women. We are a community, a village that believes in coming together, right? And so as we have developed over these last few years, especially the push for separation, our numbers are small already. I just kind of don't understand why that is a sticking point. Well, I have my theory, right? And it's not the oppressor. It's about us. Sometimes, but we can get into that fully. Andy's looking at me like, get into it. I don't really want to. I will say this, Barack Obama, biracial. I will say this. I find that Drake, but I find that people generally with this seem to have the most smoke for the women that are in that sort of identity setup. And I believe it plays into the perceived privilege and I'm not saying it doesn't have any benefits for some and all of these things that we discuss. And we do know the difference in some of the treatment, but I do think that has a lot to do with it. And that's kind of what's so sad about it to me. So, Andy, your thoughts?
I mean, where do I begin? I don't know if we have more smoke for the women. I think we're talking about identity, right?
Correct. Well, yeah. I mean, just in how we view them. Like, I mean, so we know we've been talking about, obviously, the Kendrick and Drake brief and the problems that that brought out. And Drake is soft, all of those things.
It's the light skin. That's colorism right there.
Right. And a part of that, the first thing they say is, you're not really for that could be a couple of things with Drake because he's also Canadian. So there's that disconnect or idea there. But just in general, we see it so many times in discussion about just how we're viewed. And I look at it as, especially when we talk about in film and TV, our top actresses, right, are brown-skinned women, dark-skinned women. And so when they talk about, they're taking all of the roles or things of that nature, I'm like, where? Because Viola Davis is throwing down. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just feel like there's so many examples, and I don't know. Andy?
I think there are folks who are waking up and pushing back against, the idea of, what blackness is. And when you're seeing certain industries, people have issues. This person is not American, but he's playing, a black American role. I think there's just folks who are wanting to hold on to that, that black American identity, and anybody else, even if you may share the same pigmentation.
Kamala, that was a big thing. Think about all of the conversation around her, and now look where we are because of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because people were like, is she black enough? She's cosplaying as a black woman.
Right.
And so those are the type of things that I am talking about where I feel like, look what that did, that discourse.
There's a part of me that just feels like society has, or not society, the powers that be have put this division out there. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that out there. There's this division out there
Is it still the powers that be, Andy? Have you like?
I think folks have been
indoctrinated
by it. I think they were victims of it as well too.
Facts.
But yeah, I'm gonna say it's the powers that be. They from the rhetoric. It's a lot of conversations that you see on social media that's just doesn't seem to unify folks, and people are being pitted against each other.
And I think it's sad. I want us to, we need each other in these times, in these unprecedented times. Anyway, so that's my thought on that. Go see Sinners. When we have a caller, Eric from Carson. Welcome in, Eric. How are you on this Tuesday evening?
I'm doing good, Jill. How are you doing?
I'm amazing.
I just wanted to chime in on the topic of the day.
Absolutely.
I am a dark complexion male, and I have one sibling who's a sister who is extremely light complected. One of my parents were darker and one was lighter, and so we got one of each. And I've had certain experiences from being dark complexion. And so, like when I see movies and soap operas and things like that, they always have biracial people playing black people. And then you have the most culturally sound, or people who are the most culturally connected seem to be people who are biracial, at least from my experience. So I'll conclude by saying that I think you are what you are perceived. If you look black, you are black. And if you don't, then you're whatever else you look like. That's pretty much what I conclude.
No, I don't think that is fair. You're entitled. Okay, let me step back. You are entitled to think and feel as you wish. I am not saying that your opinion is incorrect for you. But I also feel that you cannot make a sweeping judgment about a person just based on their phenotype, right? Herman Cain, rest his soul, was a very black man who did not really seem to be for the people in that way, even though he said he was, right? I mean, we're not going to get into splitting hairs, but I'm just saying, like, you can't make that assumption that they're going to connect in that way. And you can't also, by that same token, say, well, you don't look black to me, so you aren't really black, without knowing what they went through, their struggle, how they were raised, what they encountered, what they saw happen to their family members, right? I just think that is a hard thing to tell someone, that you are negating their experience because you don't feel like they look black enough.
Well, my mother always says everybody doesn't think like you, and I always try to think from a logical perspective. So for speaking in reference to our former vice president, Kamala Harris, they did everything they could to try to discount her blackness. But all I saw was a black woman. She looked like my mother. I'm like, that's all I saw. So I'm like, I don't care if she's Native American or whatever other ethnicity is in her. She looks like a black woman. If she didn't, then I think I would have maybe bought into something else. Barack Obama, you can kind of tell he's mixed with something, but most of it's black. So I'm just saying that not to discount someone who is black and doesn't look black, but back in the day before our time, there were people who, they would say you can pass.
Right.
So I feel like,
I have a great aunt that passed. But my question to you, but my question to you is, and left her whole family behind, saw her sister, my grandmother, once after, I think they said it was like 30 years. They had a lovely time, and that was the last time they saw each other. I don't know about any of these things in detail. That's all I know. I wasn't alive when this happened. But my point in saying that is that if someone feels that they grew up in the culture and they don't look what we consider culturally black, I feel like there are people that we have always let's take Meghan Markle, right? A lot of people look at her and were like, well, I knew she was black, even though a lot of white people thought she was white. I mean, it's a different thing, but you've never seen those people where people are like, oh, I'm not surprised. I knew you could see it in him or whatever. I feel like we know our own in a lot of cases.
Well,
That's the thing that happened with
story?
passing. Sure.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
At my part-time job, it's an arena, there's this young guy that I always communicate with, and I thought he was white. And so we talked every day, and then I looked at him one day, and I said, wait a minute. I said, you got black in you? And he started laughing. He said, yeah, my dad's black. I'm like, I just saw it for the first time because I was looking dead in his face. And so I still look at him now, and he looked like a white boy, but you got to look really hard, and you think, oh, okay, I can see, some blackness in you. So I rest my case with whatever you appear to be is what the masses are going to judge you by, but that doesn't dictate what you are. It just dictates how people are going to perceive what you are.
I feel that. I mean, listen, there's probably so many other stars that we talk about it all the time. It pops up later. Vin Diesel, that's one who has played racially ambiguous role. I mean, so I just want people to feel free to be who they are. But we as a community, I don't think that we should be trying to kick people out of the culture because you feel they don't look black enough. If you don't feel like they're in touch with the culture or care about the culture, that's something else. But just based on how they look, that's not what I'm feeling at. Thank you for calling, Eric. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics, more headlines. We have another caller. We're going to get into more things like you like it. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Nobody beats the biz. Nobody beats the biz. Nobody beats the biz. You know me at the BRCMARKIEN. I go for what I know, doing a show for human beings. I'm guaranteed to rock to make the ladies scream and shout. I'm bound to wreck your body as they turn the party out. The Rodney rapper, toe tapper, always have a phone. And when you hear the biz monkey, you get the job done. Yes, I'm the MARKIEN. You know that's me. I got the stutter step to keep it, check my speed is so you need it. So they say I look and sound funny, but I don't be caring. I rock the Latin quarter rooftop.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is starting early on the city's next budget, warning of major gaps ahead, $1.12 billion in 2026 and $1.32 billion in 2027. Budget meetings begin this month. Stocks are closing sharply lower after a relief rally fizzled. The major averages turned red after surging to start the day on news the U.S. was in tariff talks with trading partners. 16 people are charged in a New York City murder conspiracy tied to 21 shootings. Black Mayor Eric Adams and Black District Attorney Alvin Bragg say rival gangs were behind half the precinct's gun violence. And California may defy a Trump administration order to cut DEI programs despite threats to pull billions in funding. State officials question the federal government's authority and are not urging districts to comply. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Terrible drive for the 134. Delays backing up all the way out of Burbank from Buena Vista as you continue all the way to Colorado in Eagle Rock. That is due to police activity where only the carpool and left lanes are open. Now, a lot of people heading over to the 210 as well to use that as an alternate. It's not looking as bad as it was earlier, but there are still some heavy delays making your way out of La Cañada from the 2 all the way to the 210 connector coming out of the tunnels. Let's also take a look at another big problem. This is in Pomona. Big Rig is on its side, 60 west at Phillips Ranch Road. 3 right lanes blocked. Delays away from Central.
You're going to want to sit down for this. The jumbo breakfast platter from Jack in the Box. No, seriously, it's so munch food. There's French toast sticks, grilled sausage patty, hash brown, and scrambled eggs, all for just $4.99. Get all this and so much more at Jack in the Box.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
The UCLA and USC women's basketball teams will finish the season ranked among the top 5 in the final Associated Press Top 25 poll. The final AP poll ranks UCLA 3rd and USC 5th. Connecticut is number 1, followed by South Carolina and Texas. If the Lakers happen to meet up with the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs, the Nuggets will have a new coach. Mike Malone was fired Tuesday morning with just 3 games left in the regular season. Malone was in his 10th year with Denver. The Nuggets have lost 4 straight and 7 of their last 10. In 2023, Malone led the Nuggets to a 4-game sweep over the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals en route to an NBA championship. Nuggets owner Josh Kroenke made the decision to kick Malone to the curb now instead of after the season. Josh is the son of Rams owner Stan Kroenke. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
It's not a moment. It's a movement. And we're still marching. KBLA Talk 1580. Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah. The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I know my enemy pray on me, so pray for me. Tick, tick, wait on it. I'm keeping down my body count. I'm finessing like a trap bounce, yeah. Cause every day above ground is a blessing. I done leveled up now, view panoramic. None of my fears can't go where I'm headed. Had to cut them loose, now I'm loose, break the levee, yeah. I'm about to blood on the center. The rain and thunder gon' fall, gon' move, no, sinner. You condemn my life. Cause when we walk up in the club,
Welcome back in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Getting into these trending topics and headlines on this good Tuesday evening. Go Lakers. Random, but very necessary, you know.
OKC, UFC, KFC, Lakers in 5.
Okay. We're talking spicy. Listen, I'm here for it. We're days away from the playoffs starting. Denver's acting crazy. Why would you fire your head coach 3 days before the playoffs? I don't know what's going on. Playoffs?
Memphis coach fired. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, it had to be serious. He's been there for 10 years.
Exactly.
Serious.
He helped y'all win a chip.
Right. So we'll have to see what goes down with that.
Gotta blame Russell Westbrook.
Why?
I think that's what it is. I think Russell Westbrook, I hate to say it, what was it, last week where he missed the layup or the 3-point shot? And I think there was just some internal beef, like why do you still have Russell Westbrook in the game? No disrespect. Take him out. You got some of these youngsters, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, but y'all got Westbrook up in here. I'm sorry. He's a scapegoat. Still LA all day, though.
All day. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Okay. Let's move around, right? Because, of course, we got to give you a little court update. They're fast and furious. There's a lot of cases out here popping. There's a lot of things going on. So, look, Lil Rod, he was the second case that really kicked off the frenzy in reference to things with Diddy. His filing from his lawyer, if you recall, had photographs and home addresses of people who really weren't relevant to the case and the cause. I mean, if you recall, this all could have been solved if Diddy had given Lil Rod $50,000 instead of $30,000, because that is the catalyst for him to gather and file this suit. And here we are. So, in the latest twist of this legal saga, producer Rodney, Lil Rod Jones, is now asking the court for permission to serve defendants Cuba Gooding Jr. and Justin Dior Combs via newspaper publication. So, if you recall, last week we were talking about Aaron Hall as it relates to a 1991 separate case involving Diddy, where a woman alleged that Diddy and Aaron took her back to Aaron's apartment following an after party and took turns assaulting her. Well, she could not find Aaron to serve, and we discovered Aaron has various homes all over the country, including right here in View Park, and they wanted to serve him via newspaper ad. Well, this is the same thing that is being requested for Justin and Cuba Gooding Jr., and they're saying, obviously, that their traditional efforts have failed, right? And it's service by publication. It's usually a last resort when someone's evading service. And if it's granted, this would allow the federal lawsuit to move forward without an in-person delivery. The thing is that even a relevant concept in 2025 with the newspaper industry shrinking? Is a newspaper considered widely sourced at this point? Is it better to do it via social media or something like that? I just question. I get the idea behind it, but do people even read newspapers? And I'm not saying that to be as flip as it sounds. It's a little flip, but I'm just saying we see what's happening with the publishing industry overall. So is this really a fair thing? Who says that they should necessarily have seen it, right? So there's more to what's going on with this Diddy case. Again, we're on the clock now, less than 30 days from the start of it. A separate report claims that Diddy, as a backup plan, his plan B, is banking on a favor. This comes from B. Scott, by the way, that his old friend Donald Trump might, do special favors for him. We've seen him do it with many others to help Diddy avoid jail time. Sources allegedly told Rod Shutter that Diddy believes Trump owes him one and may seek a pardon if convicted. So, listen, that's pretty interesting. I mean, you can do whatever, who knows what kind of debauchery Diddy and Trump may have gotten into back in the day. But does Trump even have time for any of that? We will have to see. We'll get into it. Okay, so next up, there's a new series that is coming on Hulu. It's called Dying for Sex, right? And it is based on a true story that started off as a podcast. And it's a woman named Molly Kochan. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer at 42. So she decided that she didn't want to follow the typical script of suffering and sanitize inspirational things and just, battling it with a brave face, right? She decided to do something else, something really different, something pretty messy, a little more intimate, a little more human. So within a couple of weeks of her diagnosis, she left her husband and decided to go on a sexual self-discovery. And she went and explored fetishes. She engaged with sex with over 180 men around the world via selfies. And she had a lot of FaceTime calls, and then some of them were in-person meetings, so she actually got down to the deed, right? And she said that the whole thing was about empowerment and reclaiming rules. So I want to know, what would you do if faced with a terminal situation? Is there something, do you have a bucket list? Do you have things that you have planned for your life and just in general that you want to do, like outside of the normal things, like, you might want to get married, you might want to start a family, you might want to do all of that. But are there things that you want to accomplish in life that are off kilter, like, climb Mount Kilimanjaro or something like that? Andy, do you have a bucket list?
I try not to think about things like that because I think I'm going to live forever.
Well, just things that you want to accomplish during your lifetime. Do you have like a list like that?
I want to travel the world.
Every place.
As many countries as I can.
Where do you, have you started? And if so,
nah, I haven't.
Okay, where do you want to start?
The closest is Mexico.
Okay, but where do you want to start? If tomorrow somebody said, I'll give you a ticket and accommodations to wherever you want to go to start your journey, where's the first place?
Definitely got to hit up the motherland. It don't even matter the country, but the motherland for sure. And then everywhere. I don't have any, like I said, the motherland, and then whatever opportunity presents itself. South America, Asia, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I like traveling. I like seeing other countries. I don't know how welcoming they're going to be to us considering what's going on now, but still want to do more. Been a couple of places. So, like I said, this thing is interesting. She allegedly had a childhood trauma, and so where she felt she was robbed. Well, I shouldn't say allegedly. She had a childhood trauma, and she felt she was robbed of choice by dominating men. So, by a dominating individual, I should say. That's the way I should say it. So in her get back, she is trying water sports, kink, cage play. I have no idea what cage play is. I don't know that I want to know, but it's a lot going on. And she said it helped her to realize that she got to fall in love with her and who she was.
I will say that I do think that us as humans, sometimes we do lack a lot of experiences due to, we got school, we got work, but I that's the way to live, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important to expose yourself to things that maybe you're not used to.
I mean, you got to definitely step out of your comfort zone and try things to figure out who you are and what you like. If you stay in your same, 3-mile radius, you're not going to grow as a person. It's the whole fish in a fish tank analogy and so forth. But I don't know if I feel like, listen, we listen, we don't judge. We listen, we don't judge, but we judge a little bit. So it started on Hulu April 4th. It stars Michelle Williams, the white one, not the black one from Destiny's Child. So tap into it and let me know what you think. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit casmpvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help. At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the number one cause of stroke. 55% of Black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Let's get to some of these chat comments because there's a whole bunch of them. And some of them are going back to some earlier topics. Forrest Harrison says, one of my best friends who grew up with me in South Central LA looks exactly like a white woman. Her dad is as dark as me, but talking with her, it's obvious that she is a black woman. Morris, let's see. What else is in here? And he also says, remember, racism is a social construction, and after 600 years, we're all race or ethnic consciousness. We all have a consciousness, he meant to say, related to race or ethnicity in America. So are you saying that it is a choice by which the environment that you're placed in, if you happen to be born with more racially ambiguous looks? Just asking.
That's a good question right there.
I'm just asking, curious about that. Forrest Harrison also says, Trump made time to reinstate Mel Gibson's gun license, so he'll make time to save the diddler. We'll have to see that. And are you a passport bro, Forrest Harris? I'm kidding, but I'm kind of checking because you told Andy you should check out Costa Rica. You said you just came back and they love y'all over there. That's an interesting comment. I'm just playing.
I wouldn't mind Costa Rica.
But Costa Rica's beautiful. Like, I'm sure that trip was amazing. So just giving some jokes out here.
Yo, Jill.
Yes.
Back to the, the light skin, colorism conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Kamala got a lot of flack, right?
Correct.
I think she got a lot of flack because of Obama's presidency. I think a lot of black folk was, I don't want to use the word bamboozled, but I think they had this idea that now that we have a black man as the president, that all black issues,
he was going to come in there swinging,
you feel
putting
me?
it down, and that's not real.
And I think because that wasn't the case, people are like, oh, I'm not about to fall for it again. I'm not going to just vote for Kamala because she's quote unquote black. And I think that's where a lot of the deciphering of whether she's black or not came about.
I mean, I think that is an excellent point, but I think that also he got a lot done. People are being, I mean, listen.
People are trying to be free.
Yeah. And
Obamacare wasn't enough. And Obama phone, no.
The reality, though, is were we going to get that in one presidency? And if you know how government works, we didn't have, he was always battling upstream as far as, Congress and all of that. So...
yeah, I don't even think he could have been pro-black in that space. I think if he was pro-black like that, no disrespect. I don't know if I hate to even talk like that, but he has a beautiful wife and beautiful children that I'm sure that he did not want to get harmed. Let's not act like something would have been done if he was on his pro-black tip.
Listen, I mean, I can be honest and say I was concerned at times for him. And we look at where we are now and what is honestly a backlash of his presidency. You were not off in thinking about that, and I'm sure he did as well. So, okay. In other legal news, as this continues to roll on, because, like I said, this is the year that the celebs, thank you, Andy, are striking back. I feel, because there is so much happening. So, according to TMZ, Tony Busby, he is the guy that has all of those cases against Diddy, but wasn't actually licensed in New York. And he's from Texas, and he's been very grandiose. And he had the client who claimed that she was 13 and was assaulted by Jay-Z and Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity after the MTV Awards back in the day. Well, now he is claiming that Jay-Z backed out of a settlement deal for this case. And he is filing to have the defamation suit Jay-Z brought against him dismissed. If you recall, there's several things that Jay-Z won as it relates to those cases in pretrial motions that, put him in a very good position. But Busby is alleging that he has no legal grounds for the suit, that he filed it in the wrong state, Alabama, where Jane Doe resides, and reneged on a deal he allegedly made with Jane Doe. In the filing, he writes, on February 4th, 2025, an agreement to resolve the litigation was reached between Doe and Mr. Carter through their attorneys, which included the voluntary dismissal of the SDNY action. However, Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, says Busby claims are a total lie. He brought a false case, lost badly, and was forced to dismiss quickly. End of story. Busby's legal team insists that they have the email exchanges to confirm this deal. They claim that Spiro's statement that there was no agreement is a total fabrication, and that part of the agreement, Spiro agreed to withdraw the Rule 11 motions for sanctions that he had brought against Mr. Busby's law firm for practicing, in a different state, et cetera, a couple of other things, right? So they added that we agreed to withdraw the lawsuit that Jane Doe had brought against Jay-Z and Mr. Combs, even though Jane Doe continued to maintain that the allegations in that lawsuit were true. Jay-Z and Spiro agreed not to send any more people to harass and intimidate Jane Doe and her family. 1 week later, Jay-Z and his lawyer flagrantly breached that agreement by sending supposed investigators to harass and intimidate Jane Doe and her family. So Spiro acknowledged that they had reached out about dismissing the suit, Busby's team, but he says that Jay made it clear from the start he never had an intent to settle this case. And it looks that way from the beginning. Jay-Z has had his foot on Tony Busby's neck. And the accuser did herself no favors going and doing that NBC interview. We know what happened with that. I think Tony Busby is trying to save face, and I think he needs to cool it if he wants to continue to have some semblance of a legal career once this is done. Because, look, this stuff is crazy, just crazy. And really, let's just slow it down because he already looks foolish. And if it comes out that he knowingly, which kind of seems to be the obvious thing, but we don't know for sure, but that he knowingly encouraged this woman to lie or indulged in her statements knowing that she was ill and the timelines didn't match up, I don't know. Is that someone you want representing you? Well, we'll have to see what happens with all that. Look, I told you tonight was going to be a ride and that we were going to get into a lot of things, identity politics, Hollywood to real life courtroom drama, all of the things, right? You've been locked in with me, Jill Munroe, and that is a wrap on your front row seat to the culture. So make sure you are locked in each and every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Checking me out. Make sure you are tapped in at Stiletto Jill. Follow me. Hit me up and let me know your thoughts on that last reel. It is from last night's show. It's about the hip-hop conversation we had. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And make sure that you are locked in and waiting patiently for the voice of reason up next, Zoe Williams. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Forever and ever.
That's the sound of the price going up.
Forever and never ever, and never ever at the Saxon, Madiba Suite. Like Mandela, bumping fella on the Puma jet. Like we from Lagos, Mansa Musa reincarnated. We on our levels, that's a Billy, 1,000 milli. First one to see a B out these housing buildings. I be feeling like Prince in 84, Mike in 79, Biggie in 97, 94, Nas, Ali, Boombaye. No kumbaya, just give me the sommelier. I'm on Latage, helmet on a jet ski. You know the vibes hit my head, forget I'm me. Oh my God, without the God and the XY, I'm afraid the whole game will be colonized. The marathon would be televised for NIP. The true kings don't die, we multiply. Peace.
I'm so unbothered, Y'all be so pressed while I'm raising daughters, sons of empire.